again, as always, as we come into the Wednesday session here with us in Metta Center, I invite you to drop all of what's on your mind and on your body, the tensions in your body, and come back to the present moment with all of us and share this space and presence with each other as we learn the Dharma together. And again, also very grateful to have all of you joining us, because it's a precious thing to learn the Dharma together and to share this spiritual friendship in this virtual space. So today, our topic is the simile of the cook, proper and improper attention. So apparently, the Buddha presented a simile by which he explains what makes one a good cook or practitioner or a bad one. And it's not about the method or the amount of time you practice. It's about something else. So I am very curious about what exactly is it that differentiates between a good and a bad practitioner. So before we get into it, may I just introduce our speaker today, Ayya Phalañāṇī. So Ayya Phalañāṇī, at the age of 19, encountered Zen Buddhism and went to a retreat in Japan with Shondo Harada Roshi. Meditation and studying the suttas was part of her life since then. She followed a career as an actress and comedian until 2007, when she went to Thailand, where she practiced Vipassana with Ajahn Supan and Ajahn Tong. In June 2008, she took the robes, being allowed to practice like a monk and to undertake the 10 precepts. She received ordination as a Bhikkhuni on the 29th of August 2010 with Ayya Tataloka in Aranya Bodhi Hermitage in NorCal, USA. After her full ordination, Ayya Phalañāṇī returned to Thailand to train with her teachers and to continue her meditation retreat. In 2012, she spent several months in Santee Forest Monastery in Australia. In 2013, she left for a meditation retreat and spent 5 more years in a remote and poor village monastery in the mountains of Chiang Mai. Since April 2018, she is an abbess at Anenja Vihara in Germany, where she teaches and trains nuns and lay people. So this will be an interactive session as always. So usually we run our sessions with a short meditation at first, an introduction to the topic, and then we'll have someone potentially jump in to help facilitate a conversation. And today we'll have Bharath, who will help us to do that. So people, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. But if you don't feel comfortable to share your question with everyone, you could also send those questions anonymously. I am just checking that format. Is that okay with you? We didn't get enough time to check that.
Hey.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so, this session will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. And without further ado, over to you, Ayya. Over to you.
So do you just meditate for how many? 15 minutes?
That'll be good. Just a short guided
a guided meditation you want, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm just setting the alarm for 15 minutes. We wake up. So now we close our eyes and sit where we sit and get to where we are. We gather the pieces, might be scattered around mental bits, physical bits, all come together to the place where we are sitting. We take some deep breaths in and we release the air on the bottom of our lungs. 3 deep breaths. It's enough. After that, we just breathe normally. Do not slow down our breath, nor do we in any way control it. It's just breath going in and out of the body. I would tell the people, focus observing the breath in the belly, because that gives you good ground, makes you kind of grounded. But if you're not used to that, observe your breath where you're used to observing it. The air is just flowing in and out. Smooth. You can check as you sit up. Because where your breath is, where you observe your breath, might not even make a difference when it comes to enlightenment. As you sit upright and relax, tense, book does make. So try to sit as upright as possible and relax. Relax your shoulders. We continue breathing. Relax your face. Forehead. Eyes. Most importantly, chin. And wherever you observe your breath going in and out, make sure that your belly is not tense, it's not controlled. Just be relaxed. But be aware that you remain upright. And with the breath, take in the open, we widen our chest. Every breath out, you release all tension and everything that would ever be unwholesome. Evil or unwholesome, just on with the wind. Breathing in with what release chest. Also, this is our mind. So that our mind and heart is ready for the Dhamma. Whenever your mind is wandering, some thoughts, one, ideas, that, remembrance, whichever, just bring it back to the breath. And in addition, breathing in and out and knowing what breathing in is. Become aware of sitting once in a while. Beginning breath. Sanya. Widen, open, wide, with heart. When it's in the line, remember sitting. Squeeze. I don't know if you heard the gong. There was the gong. So, I do hope your hearts are open and ready to listen to the Dhamma. I think they were like that even before we meditated. Right. The simile of the cook. That is what we discussed today. And I will read the sutta. It's abbreviated. It's not the entire sutta, but an abbreviated version. And so for you to know, it's Samyutta Nikaya 47. So in the Mahavagga, in the last, and there's number 8. And it has in English different names. One is, but you might find the same sutta with different names.
So,
First, it is about the incompetent cook. Bhikkhus, suppose a foolish, incompetent, unskillful cook were to present a king or royal minister with various kinds of curries, sour, bitter, pungent, sweet, sharp, mild, salty, and bland. That foolish, incompetent, and skillful cook does not pick up the sign. We go through the words later. We're going back to the beginning later. Of his own master's preference. Today, this curry pleased my master. Or he reached out for this one. Or he took a lot of this one. Or he spoke in praise of that one. Or the sour curry pleased my master today. That foolish, incompetent, unskillful cook does not gain gifts of clothing, wages, bonuses. What reason? Because that foolish, incompetent, unskillful cook does not pick up sign of its own master's preference. So too, bhikkhus here, some foolish, incompetent, unskillful bhikkhu dwells contemplating the body as the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world, and while he dwells contemplating the body as the body, his mind does not become concentrated. His corruptions are not abandoned. He does not pick up that sign. He dwells contemplating as feelings as feelings, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world, while he dwells contemplating feelings as feelings, his mind does not become concentrated. His corruptions are not abandoned. He does not pick up that sign.
Ayya, can I request something? If it's possible, can you share your screen with so that we can see what you're reading?
Oh, okay. Yeah. While I'm reading, well, let me try. Well, I need to.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah, but okay. Now you see it?
Yes, we do. Thank you so much.
Where were we?
Right.
He dwells contemplating feelings as feelings, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world, while he dwells contemplating the feelings as feelings, his mind does not become concentrated. His corruptions are not abandoned. He does not pick up that sign. He dwells contemplating mind and as mind, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world, while he dwells contemplating the mind as mind, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating mental constructs as mental constructs, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world, while he dwells contemplating those mental phenomena as mental phenomena, his mind does not become concentrated. His corruptions are not abandoned. He does not pick up that sign. That foolish, incompetent, unskillful bhikkhu does not gain dwellings in this very life, nor does he gain mindfulness and clear comprehension. For what reason? Because that foolish, incompetent, unskillful bhikkhu does not pick up that sign of his own mind. Now, before we start to discuss the sutta, we continue with the incompetent. With the competent, of course. The incompetent we had already. So now the competent. And the competent bhikkhu. Suppose bhikkhus are wise, competent, skillful cook were to present a king or a royal minister with various kinds of curries, sour, bitter, pungent, sweet, sharp, mild, salty, or bland. That wise, competent, skillful cook picks up the sign of his owner's, his master's preference. Today, his curry pleased my master, or he reached for this one, or he took a lot of this one, or he spoke in praise of this one, or the sour curry pleased my master today, or he reached for the sour one, or he took a lot of the sour one, or he spoke in praise of the sour one, or he liked the bitter curry, or he spoke in praise of the pungent, or he was pleased by the sweet, or he reached out for the sharp, took the mild curry, or he took a lot of the salty curry. He loved the bland curry. The bland curry pleased my master, or he spoke in praise of the bland one. That wise, competent, skillful cook gains gifts of clothing, wages, and bonuses for what reason? Because that wise, competent, skillful cook picks up the sign of his own master's preference. So too, bhikkhus, here some wise, competent, skillful bhikkhus dwells contemplating the body as the body, ardent, daily comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. While he dwells contemplating the body as the body, his mind becomes concentrated. His corruptions are abandoned. He picks up that sign. He dwells contemplating feelings in feelings, or as feelings, ardent, clearly comprehending mind, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. While he dwells contemplating the feelings as feelings, his mind becomes concentrated. His corruptions are abandoned. He picks up that sign. He dwells contemplating mind as mind, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. While he dwells contemplating the mind as the mind, his mind becomes concentrated. His corruptions are abandoned. He picks up that sign. He dwells contemplating mental constructs as mental constructs, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. While he dwells contemplating mental constructs as mental constructs, his mind becomes concentrated, his corruptions are abandoned. He picks up that sign. That wise, competent, skillful being gains pleasant dwellings in this very life, and he gains mindfulness and clear comprehension. For what reason? Because that wise, competent, skillful bhikkhu picks up the sign of his own mind. So far, the sutta. Now we go back to the beginning of the sutta and clear some words and concepts there. The sign. What is that? I mean, when I read that sutta first, that was the most important question that arose. What does he mean? What sign? With no word is he telling us? What sign is he talking about? So I was this is why this sutta is so important for me. And I think it's so interesting because we really need to ponder over it, to understand what is going on. So he is talking about nimitta, that sign. When you look at the Pali version of that sutta, you find that he's talking about nimittas. So nimitta can mean a lot of things. Nimitta has a very crucial role, of course, here in this sutta. And it can either refer to a meditation object. Some would call any meditation object a nimitta. More commonly, it is taken as something that one sees in meditation. When you get into the absorptions, then you start to see lights and colors and forms and so on. And these are called nimittas. But the general meaning of the word is just sign. And that can mean any sign. That can mean a sign of the road. It can mean a sign that somebody is giving you by blinking and trying to heal something. And an advertisement panel, that can also be a nimitta. I doubt that these were common in the time of the Buddha, but most probably they were signs of the shops. And those would also be a nimitta. And so nimitta is something that we can see that means something to us, that gives us an information.
Ayya, can I ask you a question here? Is it relevant to think of it as the impression that one gets when we are meditating or seeing something or hearing something? Is it related to nimitta in that sense?
I am not sure if I got your question right. It has that meaning also, of course, yes. When you get into absorptions or close to absorptions, you sometimes start to see signs. And we find in some meditation explanations that you look for the signs, and they mean then that you look for example, a light or a thing, and then a countersign, so that you stare at something. In that sense, it would be a meditation object. And then you turn it later into an imaginary meditation object. And that is the most common take on it nowadays. But it really has a lot of meanings. And in this regard, in regards to our sutta, I think we really have to let our mind run wild over the concept of nimitta, and not just stick to one limited explanation of it. Because when we take it wider, it does really make sense that the Buddha says we do not up the nimitta. And the Buddha does not say that we do not pick up our meditation object properly, or that we do not see a light somewhere in our third eye, or wherever we think that we do not see the light properly. It's not that. It's not about that. But we come to what it is maybe a little bit later, because I want to go through some important words and meanings. What you might have noticed when I was reading through the sutta is that there is a similarity in wording to, for example, the Satipatthana Sutta. There are words that are reminding ourselves very much of the phrasing that we find in the Satipatthana Sutta. And we have all the vipassana or the satipatthana. We have kaya or kayanupassī. That would be contemplating the body as the body. Ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful. So this is the normal phrase that we find. Kayanupassī atapi sampajano satima vinaya loke abhijjhādomanassaṁ. That is what we find in the Satipatthana Sutta the same way. And ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, well, these are things that we work on. We don't start with the highest level. We try to work our way there. First, sit down and meditate, do what we can, and we start to relax. We try to focus on something, try to gain some concentration, and we try to gain a little, not so much disturbance, so that can pull ourselves a little bit off daily stress, daily activities. And with every time you do that, our mind becomes more ardent, becomes more clearly comprehending, gains more ability to clearly comprehending, learns more and more mindfulness. So this is a training that we have to take up, and we have to do it frequently, otherwise it won't work. And then there is the word abhijjhādomanassaṁ. Having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. And this is where I see a lot of trouble. Because that's usually not the case. When we sit there, when I sit there, or when people coming here sit in meditation, or when I do report with them and they speak about their meditation practice, what becomes obvious is that they are still, although they are just sitting there and breathing, maybe naming some things, or maybe focusing their mind, maybe even just counting the breath, even just a very simple meditation technique. But then something happens. A mental object pops up. And then they get fascinated or annoyed, or both, one after the other. And this is not abhijjhādomanassaṁ. This is getting involved with the world, with the worldly things. So here, what is meant here, that we really take this abhijjhādomanassaṁ not only to have no pleasure and no sadness anymore, but to let go of craving for things with fascination, or becoming annoyed of some things. You know, we all are thinking. And instead of just thinking and letting it be, like, because it's just a thought, not more, we judge ourselves. How can I thought? How can I be so distracted? And then we're all in the midst of an aversion attack. Or we for once, we experience a little bit of calm and peacefulness, and experience a little bit of joy. And we become so fascinated, and we think that we are brilliant meditators, and it's already so good. And so this is a great danger. I wanted to talk about that a little bit more because it's such a great danger. It happens to all of us. And, you know, being ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, and having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world means that we are meditators. This is not just a beginner sitting. The Buddha talks here about people who have a meditation practice. Who do practice, and yet they do all this, but it's not working. Their mind does not become concentrated. And I talk to so many people for whom this is the case. So, and they always ask, why? Why can I not concentrate? And really, the answer is not picking up the signs. So the same what we do with physical appearances or occurrences, we do the same with the feelings. We do the same with what is happening in our mind or heart. The second is Vedanānupassī. The third, satipatthana, is Cittanupassī. And the last is what I here had either mental constructs or mental phenomena, because there are both translations around in the books, is Dhammesu Dhammanupassī. So we do all this. We have a practice. We know the satipatthanas. We know how to get to concentration. And yet it's not working. And this is when you think of how we take things, how we look at things. So that would be picking up the sign, how we take things, how we understand things. We are looking at them with liking and disliking. So we are consuming, like the king. We're just sitting there consuming. And liking and disliking is arising. Those current issues are all what we consume. You remember most probably those sutta where the Buddha talks about nutriment. And we we consume without consideration. And we do not understand that a dish is just a dish, and a taste is just a taste. But we try to grasp onto what we have here, what is thrown to us. What are the 4 nutriments? Remember that? It's edible food. Of course, we need edible food as a nutriment. It's sense impressions. So all the things that are coming towards us through our sense doors that we are picking up. Sense impressions. All the things that, like in the Abhidhamma, it's called, they are knocking at our sense doors. These things, that is food for us. And we crave it. Volitions. When life throws things at us, we make things, other things, more things of it. So we have ideas, we have plans, we have intentions. With what occurs to us. And the last nutriment is consciousness. And if any of these nutrients is missing, this person is missing something and is craving for something. And that is why we crave for, say, all of these sense impressions. That is why we want to not only have tasty food, but we also want to hear music. We want to go and see something. We want to have odors, taste, watch TV, internet, scroll through endless our feeds or also so. And our thoughts, that's why we cherish our thoughts and intentions. And the consciousness is actually the hungriest, because it craves for all this input that is getting towards us through all the other sense doors, and then can finally make something up, can make something new, can make all those stories that we usually make up. Otherwise, when consciousness does not have constant input, we feel dead or bored or deadly bored or seem like life is terrible, or meditation is not going well. And the sign that we as practitioners often cannot see is that the nutriment is just the nutriment. And taste, just taste. And the things are just what they are. So the sign that we don't pick up because we are so entangled and so busy giving ourselves all the nutriment that we crave for, the sign that we don't see is what things really are. And then we can go to the Satipatthana Sutta for reference. There you have the whole practice. You go for the same as in our sutta here, contemplate the body, the feelings, the mind, and the mind objects. And then in the mind objects, we have to deal first with the hindrances. We have to overcome the hindrances. Otherwise, meditation doesn't even get us anywhere. Without those deeper states of meditation that we are able to experience when we have overcome the hindrances for at least a brief time, without having a time free of hindrances, we will not be able to get somewhere in our meditation practice. And when we look further in Sutta, it's about the 5 khandhas. And the Buddha says there to see the khandhas just as they are. Experiencing revulsion, so we see the things as they are. That brings up, here it says in some translation, it's said revulsion, but it's about nibbida, it's about disenchantment. He becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. And when it is liberated, there comes the knowledge he is liberated. So, this is the step that we don't do. And this has very much to do with what we talked about in the beginning, abhijjhādomanassaṁ. Abhijjhādomanassaṁ is a state of mind. If it's well developed, it's a sign of the 4th jhana. But it starts before. It starts in our meditation practice when we do not get to occurrences like something that we like or that we don't like. So the sign here is understanding that things are just what they are. There's not more to it. The seen is just the seen. The heard is just the heard. The experienced is just the experienced, and the cognized is just the cognized. And when we can go there, we will be able not only to say, but to see. Am I not? This is not mine. This is not the self. And that is the true sign that we shall see. That is the huge flag that is waiting, all that we are craving now, all that we grasp, all that we want, is not me, it's not mine, has no self. And understanding that is seeing the signs. I don't know how long I'm talking already. I have promised to give enough time for questions. So if you are the one who needs to stop me, if
Ayya, can I ask you another question in this regard? So you've made it quite clear to us that seeing the sign is seeing that characteristic of our experience, and that's, can I extend into also seeing the permanence, the dukkha and the anatta characteristics of our experience? And
yes,
if we don't see that, we're either stuck in liking that experience or disliking that experience, and not really going deep into our meditation.
right. We still meditate, and some people don't want to go any further than some wellness, then that's okay, that's fine. But if you want to go any further, then this needs to be understood. This sign needs to be seen.
Thank you so much, Ayya. Can I ask you a follow-up question on that? So where does wise and unwise attention come into this scheme of things, where we are paying attention to the wrong things? Is it what not allows us to see those signs? And what are those unwise things that we are focusing on?
Yes. Unwise attention is very easy, because we are going with the liking and the disliking. So it goes naturally towards unwise attention. For wise attention, to watch, to observe things wisely, we need to learn to really be alert and look clearly, comprehend clearly what is important here. And there, our craving for our hunger for those nutriments, our fascination, for example, is directing us in the wrong way. So you might sit there being totally capable of going into jhana, which is wonderful. So you practice and you feel how piti and sukha is arising, And then with unwise attention that we commonly have, we feel like, oh, it's coming, now going into the states. And wise attention would just leave it as it is, would know there is sukha arising, there's piti arising, and would just be with it and not making something of it. That just as an example. There are thousands of examples in our daily activities.
Thank you so much, Ayya. That's quite clear to us. And I'm inviting participants to ask any questions if you have. can feel free to post that in the chat, or if you want to have a chat, please open up your mic and ask your question. Something that I would like to open up to the audience is, what are some of those hindrances, or I would say nutriments, that you are having in your own meditation that is stopping you from experiencing deep states? Is it something that you want to reflect on? Maybe you have something else to add to that? Feel free to post those comments as well. We have another question here in the chat, Ayya. Someone asked.
Yes, I saw it. You want to read it?
Yes, I'm just going to read it aloud so everybody can hear that.
Yes.
Seems to me we are quote-unquote cooking or quote-unquote fabricating every moment of our experience. What we are lacking is appropriate attention to the results of our cultivation. We are not attending to what is wholesome, factors of the path, the Noble Eightfold Path, the rewards of the right recipe, and cook is the 7 factors of enlightenment. The run-of-the-mill person attends mainly to the 5 hindrances.
This is not a question. This is a very, very wise and wonderful statement. Nothing to add to that.
Except hearts and
Could
smiles.
make any better.
Yeah. Wonderful comment. Ayya, you mentioned about practice of jhana, and especially the 4th jhana. Is it something that you recommend for lay practitioners, or is it something that you would reserve for retreats and all that?
You know, people are very different. Sometimes there are monks or nuns ordained for many years, so caught up in worldly things that there is no whatsoever absorption, or neither the 4th nor the 1st nor any other possible. And sometimes you meet new people coming to meditation retreat, doing their first retreat, and they end up in a jhana or in states where you think, how is that even possible? So people are very different and bring things with them that allows or does not allow jhana. So I wouldn't say it's only something that happens to ordained people or monastics, or only to people who practice very, very long and very hard. Mostly it is, but not always. And if you work for enlightenment, as I hope everybody is, maybe not in this life, then in the other, but somewhere along the lines, when there is enlightenment on the bucket list, then you need to practice jhanas. And the 4th jhana is the very best, how did you call that? Jumping board? This is the access to the best access you can have for any further states and for nibbana. And it is impossible to become fully enlightened without any jhana. You don't need all of the jhanas for enlightenment, but also it's not possible to do it without. And if it is possible for a person to experience the 4th jhana, and the total peace and the total tranquility of upekkha, we would recommend to do that as often as possible. If that's a practice that is accessible for you, and I'm not a jhana practitioner, I'm a vipassana practitioner, but I do know and I understand that enlightenment, seeing clearly, and nibbana is not possible without jhana. So I would be a fool to reject it if I have the possibility for it. But I would also say, because in Majjhima Nikaya 111, and in more suttas than that, even in the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha explains how the progress is from being a worldling to an arahant. In Majjhima Nikaya 111, the Buddha talks about Sariputta, and he kind of even, it sounds even that he was like a proud father. And he says then what Sariputta did. And he went through all the jhanas and understood this is not the end of the practice. I need to continue. I need to go beyond that because this is not nibbana yet. And only when Sariputta gained the state of that last state that is beyond the 8th jhana, that state without, how do you call that again?
Perception.
Without feeling and consciousness. Yeah, right, that. And only then Sariputta knew, said the Buddha, that there is nothing more to do. So I would recommend jhanas, yes, but I would not recommend to get stuck in them.
Thank you so much, Ayya. We have a question that was sent to me privately.
Okay.
A person asks, what are some tips for us to apply wise attention and to attend to wholesome factors of enlightenment? It's a two-part question. One is this. The other one is, especially when we are off the cushion, it can be a bit hard. So what are some tips for on and off the cushion?
So let's talk first about the last thing. What can we do off the cushion? And it's important to discuss that question because this is where we spend the most time. Unfortunately, we're not spending the most time on the cushion, but off the cushion. So it is really important to know what to do there. And I think it's worthwhile to practice on the cushion what to do off the cushion. It helps tremendously. You only try to work off the cushion, have no practice and no experience how deep meditation experiences really can be, and to what tranquility, for example, to what kind of cleanness and alertness meditation really can lead, then you would be satisfied with a little bit day-to-day, daily awareness. And yes, I know, yeah. So, and you would think, oh, that's great already. I'm totally aware in my daily activities. And that is by far not enough. So you need the experience, you need the understanding on the cushion how deep awareness really can go, how clear you can see and understand when you are on the cushion. So that gives you a little bit of maybe an urgency to look deeper, slow down, and to take your time to attend to one thing at a time. And the time now, the young people have to deal with so much hassle. I would be totally lost in this world outside. I honestly couldn't. And the thing is not to learn multitasking, but to focus on one thing at a time. And then the next thing, and then the next thing, not all at once. One thing after the other, and one thing at 100%. Then you don't get lost. And an attention of cushion. As I said, you need to train it, and best you do that on the cushion. But you could, for example, take reference points. You could say, well, today I'm going to be aware of my hands, of my right hand. And the whole day, the entire day, whatever your hand does, you are aware of. Next day, you could determine, I'm going to be aware of what I see, or I'm going to be aware of all the smells. So that trains in daily life your sense doors. And that trains your mind to focus on one thing, on one sense door, and not get distracted, because life is really hammering at us. So we need to make our mind kind of dumb and numb. Otherwise, we would go mad. I think that's worse.
To restrict the flow of information. Is that a crux of here?
Totally, yeah.
And there's another comment there. I find that as technology is further and further enhanced, so is the expectation imposed on us. Employees to do more work set by the company even faster, and we should learn to say no.
I do believe that is true. Yes, I should not start a revolt, and but it is like that. It's getting faster and faster, and it's not only because I'm getting older that I can't cope with it anymore. It's also because it's just too much. When I look around here, I'm in the countryside, in the monastery. But even there, when I'm looking around, the people are going mad. It's too much. So you need to say no. And you need to distinguish when, where, and how to say no. You know that your loved ones are not pushed away, and that you say it without that. No, I cannot. So say it without drama. Another thing, it's just like that. It's a no. End of the story. Most people actually do understand that when you are clear.
That was a beautiful answer.
I answered the second part of the question first, and I don't remember the first part. Do you remember it?
The questions were related. So on and off the question was the second part. The first thing was how to pick. What are the tips for wise attention? So you did answer both.
Yep.
All right. So that was a wonderful take. When, where, and how to say no to your loved ones. Right.
Or to companions at work, or your boss, or whoever needs to hear a no.
Right. When the world is losing its mind, we should regain control of our personal space and not be one of the people who run amok among the world. So thank you so much, Ayya. So that was a beautiful message today. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we close out this session with some sharing of merits from your side?
Yeah. Guten Nachmittag. That's so cute. Somebody has written in German to me. Very, very kind. Guten Nachmittag, Ayya. Just wanted to send congrats on the number of Bhikkhunis at Anenja Vihara. Herzlichen Glückwunsch. Sadhu, 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 yeah. Well, yeah, I could just tell that to all of you. We have just had on the 2nd of July, we performed a Bhikkhuni ordination. I'm now old enough since last year, actually, already to give other Bhikkhunis the Upasampada. So I was appointed by other Bhikkhunis to be a preceptor myself, and we had a very, very beautiful ordination ceremony here at Anenja. We have new Bhikkhunis, 3. It would have been 4, but one had a heart attack, actually, some months before the ordination. So she decided to remain as Phalanani.
Regardless,
Yes.
Really wonderful news. It's really uplifting to hear that. And you had sent us a video on this topic, which Stinson will shortly share with the whole community. I've had a peek at it, so thank you so much, Stinson.
Yeah, so once it's done, we're going to share this with the community, because this is going to be made for the purpose of supporting Bhikkhuni Sangha, and it's going to coincide with the International Bhikkhuni Day, which will be happening at the same time as the Metta Convention. And so people will have to support Bhikkhunis, and we'll share more information with everybody later on. But this is truly inspiring. So a lot of prominent women in the Buddhist community have agreed to make short videos, including yourself, Ayya. So we are very thankful. And so we're going to share the video later with everybody.
Thank you so much, Stinson.
Good.
Ayya, can I invite you to share merits and close out the session? And I'll...
Yes. Can. Let me think. I would like to do the very Thai style, and then I imina punya kamina vachaya gunutara achari upakara chavata pita chanyataka Suryo Chandi Maharaja Gunavanta Narapicha Brahmavara cha Inna cha Pala cha Lokapala cha Devata Yamo Mita Manusa cha Machata cha Virikapicha Sapi Sata Sukhi Hontu Punyani Pakatani Me Sukhancha Tvidhanentu Hapita Vumatang Imina punya kamina, imina uttisena cha, kipahang sulape chiva tanupadana chidanam, yisantane ina dhammayava nipanatu mamam, nasantuti. Sapa daryeva yatanjatu bharibhakti, uchuchitang satipanya salve. Viryam hina marala pantu noka sankhatun chavirisumi udhati pavaro nato dhammo nato varutamo nato pacheka buddho cha sango nato taro mamam isottamanu bhavena marukasana bhantuma. So now may all of you have a wonderful day or a good night ahead, whatever comes, and a good life, for example. A good life mostly ahead without a lot of stress, now with a lot of peace, with enough time for meditation practice and enough time and ambition to continue this wonderful project of metta congregation, metta group, and so on that you have. May the Dharma grow within you abundantly until you finally one day reach the final destination of Nibbana.
Sadhu. Thank you so much, Annie. So with that, I'll now hand it over to So for sharing up some news and any other events that we have in the future.
Thank you, Bharat, for the awesome facilitation, and thank you, Ayya, for the beautiful talk. I felt like I've definitely learned a lot of things about deep meditation practice, as well as what to do in our everyday life, such as being mindful of our body parts as a simple reminder and trying to slow down and say no. But overall, and most of all, that beautiful wish you have for us, it's really, really wonderful way to wrap the session up today. And thank you so much again for joining this session and giving this Dharma talk to all of us.
I was happy to see some of you again.
Yeah, you were like a lovely friend of Metta Center. Before you came, Bharat and Simpson were so excited. They were fighting over who to facilitate the session.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, hopefully we'll have you back again another time. And so before we leave as well, just a bit of news on next week. Next Wednesday, we're back again at 7 o'clock. And Ajahn Brahmali will be talking about Buddhism and identity politics. It's going to be a really interesting session. Since has especially told me to note that because Ajahn Brahmali is very well read in the suttas and, very knowledgeable, but he'll be talking about a topic that's normally not very much talked about, identity politics. So yeah, welcome to have you back again. And we also have Metta Convention coming up. We do talk about it quite often. In case if you haven't heard about it, it's coming up it's a whole week of events, of fun events between Monday and Sunday. For around 1 to 2 hours on the weekdays and the whole weekends from 9 to 5. We've got speakers from all traditions coming to talk about metta and their take on metta. We've got trivia, we've got where we've got trivia where Bhante Sujato and Ajahn Brahmali will be battling their knowledge about about their knowledge about the suttas. We've got poetry writing, haiku writing. We've got speakers. We've got Ask a Buddhist Monk, hosted by Chol Kun King. We've got panel events, so it's going to be really awesome. We'll still have a Friday night dinner where we've got the Buddhist community coming together, making a lot of cultural meals for all of us to attend and just bond and eat good food together. What better is there than like having food together and have lots of laughs together, right? So that's the metta convention. And what's another thing I needed to talk about? I feel like there was one more thing. Oh,
the retreats.
Yeah, sure. Please go on, Bharat.
Yeah, thanks. So we have a weekend retreat coming up at the Corona Center pretty soon. I think it's not this weekend, but the next weekend. And we have a 9-day retreat by Bhante Ananda and Venerable Methananda coming up in is it November or October? November 4th to 12th. I'm the organizer and I don't remember it, right? Amazing. Yeah. And of course, that leads that pretty soon. And we are just having lots of fun here at the Metta Center. So I encourage you to come in person. And the other thing I wanted to share is we are going to be having these events at Western Sydney University Bankstown campus from August 30th, which is the talk by Bhante Joe. And we will be having lots of other people, not just the usual crowd. We'll be able to meet the students, be able to engage with the community. And I encourage you to come in person. We've been fairly lucky to have a space for us, dedicated space for us at the Western Sydney University. And all these events are for free. And if you want to support us, you can go to the donation page at Metta Center so we can keep giving these events for free. And we do everything with wonderful volunteers like So and myself. Yeah, okay. And I just have to stop there. Yeah. And Sinsin. Yeah.
Sinsin. Eugene. Gary.
Everybody.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. Thanks, Bharat. And with that note, I think we can close up the session. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Bye.